Have you ever wondered why no one came to your rescue? Why were you the one coming to everyone else's rescue, but no one came to your rescue? And they expected you to come to bat for them, to speak up for them, to stick your neck out for them. But none of them came to bat for you, spoke up for you, stuck their neck out for you. You looked at your family and you were like, this is my family. I love them. I'm going to be there for them. And they would often talk this, family needs to be there for each other. Family needs to care for each other. Family counts. But when it came to you, no one was there for you. They talked like you need to do for yourself and pick your own self up by the bootstraps. So a win for one of them was a win for all of them, because they all saw each other as in a certain group outside of you. They all could see that none of them had the same strengths that you did. You were the one who couldn't see your own strengths. And so because of that, they had to keep you from ever seeing your own strength. They had to keep you as the one that was down, that was weak all the time, even though you really weren't the weak one. They had to keep you, treating you like you were odd and something was weird about you, when really you were just unique. And your uniqueness could take you further than them all being the same and being like the rest of everybody else. They were threatened. They could not take the fact that you had something unique about you that superseded them. So yeah, they would stick up for each other. They would stick up for anybody else, but could not stick up for you, and insisted that you stuck up for them. It's all because you had a different frequency, a different vibration, a different aura, a different energy. And they knew it could take you much further. So when people would come against you, or you would fall into trials, they all were busy. They got things to do. They got places to go. You got to take fend for yourself, and then talk like you were the needy one, always needing them, when it was really them always using you. So they would sit back and watch and see how you're going to fend for yourself, how you're going to get out of this predicament. No one wants to lift a finger to help you out of it, but all of them are secretly watching to see how you're going to get out of this situation, because they knew they couldn't see any way out. They really thought they had you trapped when you were going through trials. They really thought, oh, maybe this is the one, like Samson and Delilah. Every time she was asking, where do you get your strength from? How do you have the strength? And he would give her some bogus answer, and she would go run to the enemy, and the enemy would come against Samson, and Samson would win and defeat them. But once she got tired of him getting over on her, she really pulled the victim card. She really pulled you're not being there for me, and you're not being truthful and transparent with me, even though every time he would give her an answer, she was the one betraying him and taking it to the enemy camp and causing the enemy to come against him. So eventually she got him worn down, and he eventually gave the truth of where his strength came from. It came from his hair. Really, it came from the Lord. And once she found out that, of course, she ran back to the enemy. She ran back to the enemy, and they chopped his hair off, and they thought they had really crushed him. And now she's watching him in this crushed state. She's not even standing by his side. After doing all of this working to try to work him down, to try to get to the core of his strength, once she got to the core of his strength, and his strength was stripped away from him, she stood by and watched him try to fend for himself. None of them, not even her, thought that he would ever be able to regain his strength and be able to do anything to any of them. But in secret, see, this is why sometimes you got to operate in silence. In silence, he was able to have a cap on. And none of them thought to check underneath the cap. None of them realized, oh, his hair could be growing back. None of them thought that, because they're not that bright. In fact, if you really are honest with yourselves, some of your family members and the people who came against you were just not that bright. I'm not saying you don't love them, but they just did not operate with the full deck. And so none of them checked on Samson, and his hair continued to grow under the cap. And then one day, he prayed to the Lord, you give me my strength back. Well, God had already been giving him his strength back as his hair was growing. He said, you give me my strength back, and I will use it to serve your kingdom. Well, he then uses his strength and presses against the walls and the barriers that were around him, the pillars that were around him. And all of a sudden, he is able to crumble their whole kingdom down, destroyed all of them, including Delilah. So sometimes your family, they can go too far. They're always trying to find your weak spot. They're always trying to see how they can bring you down. And then they sit back and they watch and they say, well, we're gonna see how they're gonna get through this thing. They never really expected you to actually survive it, and not realizing that if you went down, that was they were gonna go down. See, they thought that if they knew the source of your strength, if they really knew the source of your strength, because it all boils down to the fact that they don't really have the faith that you have. Delilah was not an Israelite. She was not of the faith of Samson. Now, you may be in your family, but you're not of your family. So you're in your family, but they don't have what you have inside, because you have a special light in you, a special connection with the heavenly being, the higher being. And so because they don't have no real faith, and they don't have that same connection with the higher being, they don't really realize where your strength is coming from, because they're looking at things from a carnal perspective, not a spiritual perspective. So when they hound you and rail on you and talk about you and pick on you, they're trying to find your weak spot. They're trying to really drag you down. And then when you have to fend for yourself against the other people outside of the house, outside of your relatives, they're sitting back watching you thrash about and fend for yourself, not lifting a finger, not lifting a voice to help you. And then once they see that you're able to bring yourself out of that situation, then they're just like, oh, the show is over. The show is over. Oh, they won again. But once they really think they have you trapped, they're not coming to your rescue. When Delilah turned on Samson, she wasn't coming to his rescue. She watched them beat him down. So your relatives who are jealous of you, they'll watch somebody else beat you down and sit back and take that to their advantage, because the weaker you are, they feel like the stronger they are, not realizing your light was actually helping the whole family. They don't see that because they're not that bright. They're just not that bright. And so, and I'm speaking for my own relatives as well. My relatives were just not that bright, and they just felt like it was their right to just keep tearing me down and allow other people to tear me down, not realizing that, looking at how much I supported them and was there for them. No, they couldn't see that. All they could see was, let's keep her weak and let's keep her down, and she can't leave, she can't go anywhere, she can't become anything, and she can't be a threat to any of them. They wanted to make sure that I was never a threat to any of them. And so some of your relatives, they liked when they thought that someone got the best of you, and that you were gonna always be this broken person. But when God started putting it in your heart to come away from them, they never knew that you were going to make it, because by the time God told you to pull away from them, you were at a weakened spot. You were like a train wreck. You were emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually damaged. And so they said, well, let him go. Can't nothing much come of that person. But just like God was secretly and silently building up Samson's strength, God is secretly building up your strength. You may still feel a certain way and feel torn up and wretched inside off of what you went through. But secretly, God is building your strength. And then you wonder, you start to realize that certain things that used to really upset you don't upset you as much. You start to realize how you're pressing through things and you're pressing through circumstances, and they're not taking you out the way you assumed they was, because you're slowly building your strength. You're slowly but surely building up your strength. Now, Samson's strength didn't come overnight. It takes a while for your hair to grow back. It takes weeks, months sometimes for your hair to grow back. But your strength comes back. Your voice that they shut down, that they tried to trample down, comes back. Your talents that they tried to mock and discourage you from pursuing comes back. Your abilities comes back. Your creativities, your ideals come back to you. God brings it back to you. Or if you're not into God, your higher being brings it back to you. Your creator brings it back to you. And so where they thought, oh, well, this person is damaged goods, we don't care, we can let them go now. They didn't realize that as long as you're alive, you can still recover. They thought, oh, well, she's too far gone. We've used her up. We've depleted this one. We depleted him. We've used him up. We've depleted him. There's no way he can bounce back from this or come back from this. And when they send you off, they want to send you off crawling on your knees. And so in that time that you're away, your strength is coming back to you. All the triggers that used to trigger you, upset you because of all the horrible things that they did to you, it starts to dissolve. You start to get a hold of your thoughts, and it doesn't torment you anymore over what they did and what you went through. You start to stabilize. Your emotions start to stabilize. You're not going through as much spiritual warfare as you had been before. Your strength is coming back. Your soundness and your peace is coming back to you. Your joy is coming back to you. So just know that, if you haven't pulled away from these toxic people, it may not be your relatives. It could be a job. It could be a relationship. Just know that once you do pull away, everything that was lost, everything of value to you that you cherished, that you felt like was lost forever, is going to come back to you. So just know that and take care.